Plus he's been, he almost died. He almost bled out. He told Andrea he thought about shooting himself, and then the governor's
Hmm.
people saved him. So that might be another reason why he's kind of beholden to them. I mean, I agree with you. I think he knows what kind of a guy the governor is, but there's all kinds of stuff going on here.
There were two moments I really enjoyed visually, and one is the "How about a hug for your old pal Merle?" I think that's such an iconic moment.
Mhm.
And also when Andrea is in the back of the car, kind of getting in and out of consciousness, and she looks up and Merle kind of puts his finger to his lips, like, shh. I'm like, oh, that's iconic. It's very creepy and
Yeah.
unsettling because she's just seen the body hanging from the tree out the window. And yeah, it's brilliant. Really cool.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, they really know how to make it
Mm.
cinematic. So a few other random things. I always think Rooker kind of has this old woman voice, especially when you hear him and don't see him. He's like, "Hey,
Yeah.
easy does it, girl. Mine's a whole lot bigger than yours."
Is that your grandmother?
No, it's just iconic platonic ideal of grandma.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Agree.
when he said that he was bleeding out and he considered killing himself, I kind of wondered if the writer stuck that in there to make a little connection between him and Andrea, because she considered killing herself.
Mm-hmm.
Saying, focusing in on Daryl, that's the first thing he asks about, is interesting because it just shows, that he cares and he wants to be back with Daryl. He says he was always been the sweet one, my baby brother. I think by this time Daryl had evolved into a sweet guy. I don't know if that was the writer's intentions from the start, but this makes it
Mm.
feel like that's how he always was. So it's a nice bit
Yeah.
of just sort of rounding out his character. Um, okay, I'm going to go into my next point, which
Go for
is
it.
the governor's purpose, his true purpose.
Ooh, okay.
So you might wonder, why does the governor have this guy studying the zombies? And
Mm.
I think on the surface, it would make sense. He would want to know more about them just because they killed all the humans except for, 0.02% or whatever it is. And so why not study them and learn better how to deal with them? And even what he learns about Michonne's pets is more about, oh, interesting. If you cut off their jaws, they don't try to bite you anymore. But then again, if you can get close enough to cut off zombie jaws, you might as well just knife them in the head. But
Mm-hmm.
that's why the CRM studies them, because they want to know how to neutralize
Yeah.
them. But as I said, for the governor, it ends up being because he wants to bring his zombie daughter back. And that's why
Yeah.
there's a focus on whether there's any humanity left still there, an echo of humanity or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And I think the governor is a narcissist where it's all about him. And this whole setup of Woodbury and the scientist and everything he's doing is, they're just objects to meet his needs. And his need is to create this idyllic world for his zombie daughter and try to bring her back into it. And um, I think it's really fascinating that this whole, well, it's not that big, but it's kind of a big deal to have this community that's basically just there because of his own psychology, or his own narcissism. And I think
Mm-hmm.
a lot of world leaders are like this, where it's scary to think that, for example, sometimes thousands of people end up dying just because a leader has a bruised ego, like Putin. Look what he's doing. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's all about him. you know
Yep.
and so, knowing what we know about the governor, at the beginning was thinking, oh yeah, I would totally trust him. But knowing what kind of a guy he is, he's just, and then what? So let's see. He says he's not sitting pretty. He wants to bring back civilization, and so that's like a secondary purpose, to bring back civilization. But I still think that's in service of Penny, to create this world that she can be happy and safe in.
Mm-hmm.
Because once Michonne kills zombie Penny, I don't think the governor gives a shit about any of that anymore. He just wants revenge. That's like his new purpose at that point. That's what I remember
Yeah.
anyway. I'll be curious to see when we go back through if that's true, but that's what I remember. But so in order to serve that secondary purpose of building out civilization, I guess that's why he cares whether Andrea and Michonne stay, because he's trying to
Yeah.
build a civilization for Penny to live in, right? I
Yeah, I don't
think.
think his ego could cope with people not wanting to stay.
Hmm.
Someone rejecting what he's made. And I think it is about protecting it as well. It's about making sure that
Yes.
other people
Well, yeah.
can't come and destroy it.
Yeah, because that's brings me to the end where he murders all these guys that were part of, because I was like, okay, he's trying to bring Michonne and Andrea in, but then there's more guys that he says he's going to bring in and he kills them. And I'm like, why not bring them in too? He needs enforcers, he's got these
Mm-hmm.
mercenaries around him. And so, I mean, he kills them all. He takes that one guy's gun first thing and bats him in the head with it to finish him off, tells his other guys, pick up the rest of the weapons and let's see what Uncle Sam brought us. I like how nonchalant he is about it. And he has this
That
sort of
line,
he
yeah.
has an attitude, not like an evil guy, but like, this is what we do, boys, or
Mm-hmm.
I know it seems rough, but we're on the side of the good here, even though he's not.
Yeah, yeah.
But I just working through, why would you bring Andrea and Michonne in, but kill these guys and take their stuff if it's about rebuilding civilization? And I think it's because it's also about control, that he wants to have absolute control and authority. And he thinks they might have been a threat to that, I guess, because they're an organized, powerful group, or organized group, I guess. I don't know. They know how to fight. And so he wants to be able to keep going with his experiments and his community the way he wants it to be. And so I guess if anything will threaten that, then his goal is to protect all of that. And so
Yeah.
I think he's sort of like, I was thinking about this today, like Herschel and Shane combined, because Herschel thought his zombie family could be cured and the governor wants his zombie daughter to be cured. Shane would eliminate all threats to protect those he cared about.
Mm.
So the governor is like both of them together.
Yeah.
In a way.
He really is.
I mean, do you think that's right about why he killed those guys and yet wanted, or maybe he just only wants women?
I mean, I think it's also the guys are a much bigger threat. Like Andrea and Michonne can't take the place down themselves, whereas the army guys could if they
Yeah, that's
found
what I'm
it.
saying. Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess
exactly. So
that's
no,
it.
I think you're.
But it seemed odd to
I think
me.
there's
I
logic
mean,
there.
there's a part of me that's like, they just want him to do something psycho for a good punchline to the end of this episode, because it didn't totally make sense. It wasn't totally clear, but that's the reason I would come up with, just about not.
Yeah, that would be my thinking as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it. And he's, massively underestimating Michonne there, but
Yeah, and it will come back to hurt him in the eye.
Yeah, in literally, literally that.
Anything else?
Peter asked me if we find out that the soldiers are from Fort Benning. I don't know if we specifically do.
Not that I remember.
Not that I remember. We were saying it's a shame in a way you could have almost retconned CRM into this and CRM the helicopter, but it's good the way it is. It makes sense. It makes sense. I liked the moments of tenderness between Michonne and Andrea. Michonne clearly does care about Andrea. She's rubbing her back while she's throwing up, and she kills her pets to try and keep them safe. And oh, she's just great.
And that one moment where Andrea says it must have been hard for you or whatever, and she's to kill them, and she's like, it was easier than you'd think, and she's almost going to cry there. That was an emotional little moment.
That's lovely. We see Martinez for the first time. He's going to come back. He's with the governor, I think, right till the bitter end. Is he not?
I think so. And yeah, I think, was he there at the very beginning too, in that other group that he was in? I forget, but yeah.
I think so. So yeah, Martinez spot. That is, I think that's it for me, actually.
Okay. I have one more point. Experience with actors. So David Morrissey, always great, super nice guy, very self-possessed, but friendly. And
am I right in thinking he would do a lot of stuff with Scott Wilson?
Yeah.
Like they would tend to be on panels
together.
They
were friendly. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And I mean, he was just a good guy. He had good vibes. I think he had to do some acting to pretend to be evil and intimidating.
What I think about David Morrissey is he had to do some acting.
Yeah. At some point he said he wasn't super familiar with the comics, but that he based his portrayal on J. Bonen Singh's Walking Dead books. And those
Mm,
are The Rise of the Governor, The Road to Woodbury, and The Fall of the Governor. And those are pretty good. He's very descriptive. He's so good at describing like zombie viscera and all that kind of stuff.
mm-hmm.
But I can't remember for sure, but I think I'm the one who told J. Bonen Singh of that. I think I told him, David Morsi said he based those on your books, and he was like, "What?" And
Oh my
so, because
God.
Jay is, I know I'm effusive about these guys. Jay is the fucking nicest guy ever. He's so cool. I've been to dinner with him several times. He's just really fun to be around, kind of crazy and super
Mm-hmm.
kind. And me and him and Melissa Hutchison used to hang out a lot. But one time I set it up so that Jay Bonansinga could be the moderator for David Morsi, since David
Oh wow.
Morsi, based his characters off of his books. And Jay told me afterwards that in the backstage, they were kind of just shooting the shit, and they said something about, what are we going to do? Let's do something crazy. Why don't we just go out naked? Like David or Jay said that as a joke, and David said, "I'll do it." And Jay said he believed that he actually would have.
Oh, that's
Which
amazing.
is so
I love
funny.
it.
I don't know if I'm supposed to tell that, but oh well.
I mean, they didn't come out, so it's fine. It's
Yeah,
fine.
no, they
It's fine to
did. No,
tell.
I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah, then they came out naked, and now they're in
And
prison.
everybody
But
loved it.
it was funny.
I'm sure they would have loved it. Lori Holden, I did several panels with her, and I remember before one of them, I found out she has been an advocate for victims of human trafficking.
Mm.
So I asked her about that, and she talked about in 2014, she was actually part of this undercover mission to combat human trafficking. And I
Wow.
looked it up because I didn't remember the details. It says Holden and other volunteers posed as wealthy Americans hosting a fake bachelor party to lure sex traffickers. Her role was to keep the young girls who were victims of trafficking occupied and comfortable while the undercover team gathered evidence to arrest the traffickers. This operation led to the rescue of 55 sex slaves, some as young as 12. So
Oh
she
my
was involved in
God.
that.
Laurie Holden, man.
Yeah, superhero.
Gosh.
And you could tell she was really proud of that, and rightly so.
Yeah, you would be.
Um, I have more stories about her, but maybe I'll save more until later.
Mm.
Milton, great guy. As I mentioned, we wanted him at WSC, but or Walker Stucker, but he only wanted to do it if he didn't have to charge for autographs, and that didn't work out. But
Mm.
I would go back, if you're at all interested, listeners, and check out episode 101 with my interview with him. It was pretty good.
Amazing.
I forget, have I talked much about my Rooker experiences? I think I kind of did, right?
I think
Already.
so.
Yeah. He's just crazy. You never knew what to expect on panels. Half the time he would just not answer any questions, and he would grab the mic and go out into the audience and just start playing with people, What do you
Oh,
want to
wow.
ask me? And then they'd start asking, and he'd just give some one word answer and go to the next guy. And then he would flirt with the women and
Oh, man.
do all kinds of stuff. The big enforcer guy, black guy, Schumpert, is Travis Love,
Yeah.
who's just a really nice guy, kind of quiet in my experience, but nice.
Mm-hmm.
And Martinez is Jose Pablo Cantillo, who's equally nice, more energetic and lively and fun. Good guys.
Oh, it's so fun how you got to meet some of the like not as prominent characters and get to know them better that way.
Yeah. One of my favorites was the one with the bow and arrow from Hilltop. Do you remember her name?
Oh, not Denise. Diane. No?
Diane, yeah, which makes sense. Diana. So we were sitting in the green room one time. I should probably save the story for when she's in an episode, but whatever. And I told her I had this podcast, and like, you should come on sometime. And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to." And then somehow we came to the idea that she would come on and pretend to be just super gruff and give one word answers and not want to be there at all, and just do like 5 or 10 minutes of that and then be like, we're just joking. And we were cracking
Excellent.
ourselves up over it in the green room, but we
I think
never
you should do
ended up
it.
doing it. Well, it's too late now. I'm giving away the game.
Aw.
All right, my notes. I talked about this before, but since we're now seeing Michonne's pets for the first time, well, relatively, I guess they were in the last two episodes. Anyway, I think they're kind of dumb because if you're walking around with two zombies on chains that are a foot or two away from you, it doesn't make any sense that zombies wouldn't eat you. And yet if you're walking near other zombies without the chains, then they will eat you. But the chains make it so they won't. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, they've got no lower jaw.
So?
Well, they can't bite you.
No, I mean, so she walks around with those so that she can blend in with the other zombies and they won't attack her.
Oh,
the other zombies, not them. And it works, but it just doesn't make any sense to me that it would work. I know you're like, it's zombies. It doesn't have to make sense. But even within the logic of the zombies that we know so far, it just doesn't, when they cover themselves with guts, that makes more sense because maybe smell has something to do with it. But just walking around with two on chains versus just walking near two, say, then it would be the same thing compared to the other zombies. So anyway, that's what I've always thought. But it looks cool. And maybe that's why it's worth it. The guy in the helicopter accident, we get an overhead shot. He's been completely sliced in half and you see his guts hanging out and everything. And it's like, ew. And
it's so gross. It's so great. I love it.
I don't know if any other show before The Walking Dead got this gory, especially considering this is something having nothing to do with zombies and yet there's still that gore. I feel like, for better or for worse, The Walking Dead was a pioneer in this kind of gore. I think, for example, before The Walking Dead, medical shows were way less gory, but if you watch a medical show now, it's like you're watching The Walking Dead,
Yeah. I did think this was particularly gross, seeing him like halved on the ground like that. I mean, I loved it, but it was particularly gross.
And if you watch like MASH back in the 70s, you'll see them with blood on their hands, but they don't show the guts and stuff. But now, if MASH was produced now, I think because of The Walking Dead, they would show more of that.
Yeah.
Helicopters freak me out a little bit. Like,
have you ever been in one?
Yeah, I was in one in Hawaii flying over Volcanoes National Park, and it didn't have doors, and we were strapped in, but it would bank left and right, and so you just kind of look down and see the ground, and it's freaky and it's super loud. And I mean, like, in my view, if you're in a plane and the engine goes out, you can at least glide down, but in a helicopter, you're fucked.
Yeah, I just wouldn't get in one personally. Yeah. I'm that much of a wimp. I'm like, no, I'm not getting in one.
I don't know if I would go in it again. Once was enough for me. I'm sure, who knows, they're probably perfectly safe, but scared me. I wasn't clear at first why this copter was damaged, and I wondered if the governor shot it down or something. But later, this guy Wells, this wounded guy, said his helicopter took a beating in the riot. So I think that just meant when the zombies attacked, somehow it damaged the helicopter or some riot, whatever.
Yeah.
I think we should note that the Woodburyans call the zombies biters. The governor said it, and other Woodburyans called them that too. And then on my last note, totally unrelated, but I was thinking about how Lori's more sympathetic this season. And I was thinking maybe from a storytelling perspective, the writers are doing that so that next week is going to feel more dramatic when she dies. If you didn't like her when she died, it might be more like when Andrea died. So I don't know, maybe.
All right. So IMDb wise, Merle's prosthetic arm is made of fiberglass painted to look like aged metal. I think that probably makes sense because it would be a lot lighter than having an actual metal arm. Okay, trivia question for you. Do you know who the woman in the picture of the governor, his wife and daughter, is?
I used to know that, but I forgot.
It's Denise Huth, one of the producers.
Oh, yeah.
This is the first episode where we hear Michonne's name. So if you didn't read the comics, you might not know who this was.
I didn't know that.
There's one here that just says Michael Rooker considers Merle's entire body to be a weapon. I'm like, sure. In an interview with Kevin Smith, Greg Nicotero revealed that one of the floating heads in the governor's fish tanks was a recreation of Ben Gardner's head in Jaws. Ben's head famously popped out of a hole in his fishing boat after he was attacked by the great white shark. The 24 prop heads secured to the bottom of the tanks were hollowed out, allowing them to float. The water was coloured a sickly yellow by adding coffee grounds, tea, and dye. This is the first episode where we never see Rick in the group. And at exactly 42:42, there is a literal foreshadowing of the governor's eventual eye patch. As he notifies the residents of Woodbury about the fate of the military convoy, there is a shadow that is perfectly cast across his left eye. After the governor ambushes the army camp, when the sole survivor is running away, the governor aims his rifle without a rear sight. This would effectively make aiming useless, as aiming without a scope takes 2 points of reference with front and rear sights. I don't understand what any of those words mean, but if
it's
you
hard
like
to
guns, yeah, basically that couldn't happen. In terms of the timeline, we left the prison last episode on day 296. This is day 297. So Andrew
Okay.
and Michonne are found on day 297, and on day 298, once they've spent the night, we see the soldier massacre and the breakfast conversation. So those are my bits.
Nice. Yeah, you mentioned how we didn't see any of the other characters, and I was pretty aware of that, and it was nice. It's nice. I like sometimes taking a break and going to some other part of the story. I know some people don't like that at all, but I do. I think it's kind of
No, I think it's effective.
cool to get something different. But now I'm looking forward to Rick meeting, facing off against the governor for sure.
Absolutely.
And only on The Walking Dead would you give up your morals for scrambled eggs.
Only on The Walking Dead does Netflix and chill take on a completely different resonance in Woodbury.
The citizens.
The people it kills get up and kill.
Are they slow moving, Chief?
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
This is a Walking Dead Cast news update.
I thought it was worth noting that right now there's a few different Walking Dead actors starring in things. We've mentioned some of them. As we mentioned last time, you can hear Andrew Lincoln as psychologist, inventor, and digital game world maker Dr. Mark Tyburn in the podcast A Better Paradise.
Mm-hmm.
Norman Reedus is all bearded up as biker Funny Sonny in the crime drama The Bike Riders in theaters now. Got decent reviews. I'm kind of curious to watch that.
Yeah, me too, actually.
I went and watched A Quiet Place day one instead. Which,
how was it?
It was good. It was, if you like the Quiet Place movies, so thrilling. And Lupita Nyong'o, her performance was really, really good.
She's great.
Yeah, and she was just excellent in this. I feel a bit jaded. Monster movies haven't been hitting with me. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I've seen too many of them or something. But I think any Quiet Place fan is going to love this.
Right.
So, another movie, Kevin Costner has this Western, Horizon, an American Saga. You hear about that?
No. He
bankrolled this 4-part Western. Part 1 came out last weekend. Part 2 comes out in August. This is why he's not in the last season of Yellowstone. I was going to say Yellow Jackets.
I was like, yeah, I mean, he was really great as one of those schoolgirls.
Right.
Kevin Costner
good
as
actor.
coach.
Go team. No, so he was in Yellowstone, that Western.
Mm-hmm.
He isn't going to be in the last season. But anyway, the first one came out and it apparently isn't very successful. So I kind of feel bad for Kevin Costner. We'll see what happens. But anyway, Michael Rooker's in that as Sergeant Major Thomas Reardon.
Oh, okay.
Sonequa Martin Green, of course, has been playing Captain Michael Burnham in Star Trek Discovery. I don't know if that's over, actually. I thought they were in the middle of their final season, but maybe it's already over.
It's been bumped around a few different channels over here, so we've kind of lost the thread a little bit.
To look into that. Stephen Yeun, of course, is Mark Grayson in Invincible. It's on a break right now, but it's still ongoing. And is John Bernthal in The Bear this season?
He's turned up once so far. We're only on episode 2, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. And he's going to be playing the Punisher again in the upcoming Daredevil Born Again too. So those are a few.
Oh, yeah.
And then next, the Empire magazine that comes out tomorrow as we're recording this has an interview with Andrew Lincoln. They say he talks about his time on The Walking Dead a lot, so I'm curious to see how that's going to come out. But they put out already an interesting bit ahead of time. He's talking
Some
about
nice clickbait. Yep. Yeah.
yeah,
It is genuinely. Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, he's talking about Glenn's death on the show, and he says, "I do still think it might have been when we over-egged the omelet." He says maybe it was lingering too much. He said filming it was among the most intense nights of shooting I've ever been part of. And he said of Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who he says is one of the nicest guys you're ever going to meet, playing one of the most unpleasant characters. He said he had to do this extraordinary monologue on his first day at work, and everybody was on their knees and weeping when they weren't on camera. And he came over and went, "Is this normal?" And I went, "Yeah, everybody just keeps going. It was an extraordinary night."
I do sometimes think about JDM having to come in with that as his first fucking scene.
Yeah.
Like, geez, I know we give him a bit of a hard time for wanting Negan to become a hero, but I am a bit like...
I remember seeing a video of a convention that he was at because he was in Supernatural, so he was already doing convention type stuff before he was on The Walking Dead. And he was talking about, because they had announced him as Negan, and he was like talking about his agent calling him up and saying, "Would you want to play Negan on The Walking Dead?" And he was like, "Fucking Negan? Yeah, I want to play fucking Negan," like that, So he was already getting into the spirit of it. He was really excited to get that role.
Yeah. I mean, be careful what you wish for.
No, I think he's still
Yeah.
pretty jazzed about it. But yeah, the core of that, though, that's interesting is Andrew Lincoln saying maybe we overdid it with Glenn. And I think so. I think they got all excited about the special effects of the eyeball popping out and didn't realize that's like really cruel to viewers who love that character.
Yeah, no, it's interesting to hear them speak out about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm curious to see what else he'll say about his time on The Walking Dead. He'll be like, "I never liked Scott Wilson." No, I'm just kidding.
Scott Wilson was a real pain in the ass.
No, everyone loved Scott Wilson. Okay, final item. So, as we remember, Maggie left The Walking Dead for a little while. She left, I think, in the same episode that Rick did, or maybe it was the one that came
Yeah,
right
that was
after.
her last episode.
Was.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And then she came back towards the end of season 10, what was going to be the season 10 finale until they extended it. And she had been with this group of people that were being attacked by Pope and the Reapers. And one of her people was Frost. Do you remember that guy?
I'm going to Google what he looks like.
He was kind of her right-hand man, I think. And he was the guy that when Daryl had to pretend that he was on Pope's side, had to torture him and cut his finger off. And then the Pope tortured him to death. So I remember thinking he was a cool character in the short time he was on the show. And this actor who played him, Glenn Stanton, is in a new movie called Penitentia. And his publicist actually asked me if I would give it a shout out. So I watched the trailer and it looks like a suspenseful crime thriller kind of thing, maybe with a social message. He plays a lawyer who's in this big firm that covers high profile clients, but he's spending his time investigating this schizophrenic woman who's being held in solitary confinement, and he thinks unjustly, and everyone's telling him not to waste his time with that, something like that. But the description says, in Penitentia, a prestigious job lulls Ale Villicano into the good life until a pro bono case reawakens his instincts for justice. Caught between his criminal past and his promising future, Ale must decide what kind of lawyer he's really meant to be. And this character of Ale's mentor was inspired by the writer-director Chris Lawing's father, Jim Lawing, who was a prominent attorney from Wichita, Kansas, member of the ACLU, and an active leader in the ACLU of Kansas. And to recognize his career as a civil rights warrior, the ACLU of Kansas created the Jim Lawing Award in 2016 to honor defenders of the Constitution. So the writer-director said, for any indie filmmaker, the release date is both magical and terrifying. I'm just happy to finally be able to share this story with a wider audience to honor my dad and all the people like him fighting the good fight. So I thought I would mention that, and it's available to rent on Apple TV, Amazon, Fandango, and other channels. So if you're a fan of that character Frost and you decide to watch it, I'm curious to know what you think. Let me know.
Yeah, it sounds fascinating.
Mhm.
I'm into it.
I'll put a link to the trailer in the show notes in case anyone's curious.
Sweet.
All right, let's move on to listener moans, groans, and grunts.
Connor Riley says, the governor is a menace. Yes,
I just
he is.
love-
That pesky governor.
That's what somebody wrote. Wendy says, anyone watch The Gov in Britannia? Have you watched that?
I didn't watch Britannia, but it was very popular. I think it was like sort of prehistoric British stuff. And yeah, I think he had quite a big role in it. So
Interesting.
yeah,
I've only seen him in that Doctor Who thing, as far as I can remember. And
it's
Walking
quite a
Dead.
contrast to the governor. Simon Graham says, the governor was my favorite Walking Dead villain. Well, Simon, this is a good era for you.
Becky Fenner Anderson said, he's so good at being bad, I will never forgive Andrea or him for what happens later. Which part?
Just all of it.
Probably Herschel. Probably talking about
Yeah.
Herschel.
He is so good at being bad, sounds like a Taylor Swift song. I love it. Becky, lock that down. Rodney Milton says, oh, Milton, hello. Loving doing my own rewatch along with you folks. The only trouble is the season is so good, I keep wanting to watch the next episode straight away. Rodney, you know my struggle.
Yeah, Lucy just watches them all.
I just every day I'm just like, where will I get to? What will it's hard because when I'm like sick, it's like my comfort show. So I'm a bit like, ugh. So I've started just picking random episodes quite far away from where we are to kind of keep the momentum.
I have so many shows. Like I'm trying to stay caught up on House of the Dragon, on The Bear, on The Boys. And then there's movies that I want to watch. I still haven't seen Oppenheimer. And so I get so paralyzed that I end up just like reading comics and not watching anything.
Yeah, watching old stuff that I'm like, yeah, I've seen this a million times. It's fine.
Jonathan Bookalil says, the governor, one of my favorite villains. And who could forget Milton? I wonder if Lucy was mad for Milton.
As I say, Jonathan, not mad for Milton, but maybe a bit good for the governor at this point. But, that changes. That changes.
That's quotable. He goes, I read the Rise of the Governor books, which were excellent. I might have to have a big binge this weekend to catch up. Arg. Yeah, catch up, Jonathan. Yeah. Here's a call from Steve Brown.
Hello, the cast of us. This is Steve, and this is for The Walking Dead, Season 3, Episode 3, Walk With Me. Oh, another helicopter. And Andrea and Michonne are going to walk toward the crashed helicopter. Okay, this group that's here at the helicopter, they have an archer, too, who can headshot from pretty close, but still. And Michonne just killed her pets. Oh, but they've been discovered by... Is that Merle? It is Merle, and he recognizes Andrea. Ooh, Blondie. And Merle actually seems kind of human here, listening to Andrea recount for him what's been happening. But we'll see. That's right. Michonne and Andrea don't know about the whole infected thing. But now they do. That if you die, you turn, whether you're bit or not. Right. You claim you're going to send them on their way with no hard feelings. We'll see. Welcome to Woodbury, a protected community. Okay, so this pilot was at another community similar to Woodbury, but it didn't last. And he just revealed that he's got, what did you say, 30? So there were 3 of them, so 25 or more out there. So Milton figured out why Michonne had her pets, that they were repellent and camouflage, as the governor says. Impressive breakfast, eggs and tea, some sort of bread on the table there that Milton and the governor are feeding Andrea and Michonne. An interesting conversation. Okay, so I guess he told her what the helicopter pilot said about his community. She just said that soldier had walls, and we see what happened. And the governor does call it civilization, and earlier that woman called it Rome. We'll see. Of course, they want to leave, but every time they mention leaving, the governor just gives them another reason to, hey, stick around, relax, you might like it here. Oh, and this must be the soldier, the helicopter pilot's group. Oh, and the governor just shot him, and they're just, they must be in the trees. Yep, in the trees and the bushes. And the governor just crushed that guy's skull with the butt of that rifle. Yeah, they're not nice people. And what story are they going to give Woodbury about how they got all these vehicles and weapons? So they're going to claim that Biters got them. And the governor says he never tells his real name. Ew, and he's got secrets, heads and tanks.
Ew, I love it. I love it.
Steve's sounding kind of sultry. Maybe he had a cold.
Yeah. We got our first live Steve over at the Bearcast. We really felt that we'd made it. We're like, yeah, we've arrived. We've arrived. We've got Nevada O'Brien saying, imagine living in the wild, being chased by monsters, starving, and being so sick you could die, terrified all the time, never being able to sleep properly. What a harrowing existence. Then someone takes you into their care, feeds you, cares for you, and makes you well. You sleep well, get fresh, clean clothes, and feel safe for the first time in a long time. You begin to relax your defenses and feel like you're once again part of a community. I think this is how Andrea felt. It blinded her to the underlying danger that Michonne could sense. I have to say, I'd be on the warm bed, full tummy side until the freaky business started.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed last week's podcast. It was great fun and good to listen to. I loved hearing from Gemma too. Oh, we enjoyed
Nice.
having Gemma on, so thank you for that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to keep watching and pay attention to the red flags that Andrea ignores, because if I remember right, she does start ignoring some pretty big ones. But
yeah, she really does.
So far, I don't blame her for anything that she's done.
Yeah, right now I'm like, yeah, baby, crack open a beer. Like,
give that guy eyes. Flirt, flirt, flirt. Billy Thompson says, Merle really steals the show this episode, although this is the first time we see the governor. Michael Rooker's charisma is undeniable, and his reveal is brilliant. Now, how about a big hug for your old pal Merle, as he stands there, gun at the end of one arm, stabby stab at the end of one another, then Andrea fainting, just brilliant. Well put.
Yeah.
Just a quick thought, is the flu that Andrea has right now maybe the same flu they all seem to get next season? I've always thought it was connected in some way, but maybe it isn't. I don't know. I know that they've tried to say that there's a danger, even when they rub the guts all over them, that you could get sick from that. You know, I think that's what happened to Gabriel.
A theory. It's either in The Passage by Justin Cronin or The Stand by Stephen King, or both, that after an apocalyptic wipeout event, there's a second wipeout within about a year where it's disease. That wouldn't, it's not necessarily the disease that everyone got, but it's like the things that wouldn't usually kill you but do. And I've always thought this was maybe that starting to happen in both cases.
Interesting. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, people get sick no matter what, so could be any of that. Billy goes on, I always forget that these other characters haven't been on the entire journey with the main group, and they don't all know all the information we do, like Merle not knowing Amy died, which happened so early on. Also, Michonne and Andrea not knowing everyone is infected, and they come back regardless. I love how in the early seasons there's this mystique about the walkers, how we learn more about them through Milton and Dr. Jenner, like they're more than just mindless zombies, which they seem to be in later seasons. I think they are now still, but yeah, they're still learning about them. We see glimpses of the governor's dark side throughout this episode, like when he kills the military guy with his knife and closes his eyes like he felt relief he got his fix of killing the living. That's true. We didn't mention that. He's like, like a total psycho. But the end scene is so iconic. It reveals just how psychotic and how dangerous he's going to be throughout the coming seasons. Fuck, I love The Walking Dead. Thanks, guys. Bye.
I love that. We love it too. Rachel Teal Edwards says, I forgot how quickly we learned how villainous the governor is. He's so slimy right away, just too slick and nice and accommodating. I would love to know what my original reaction to him was, but this time around I was thinking, this is obviously too good to be true, Andrea, but also Michonne, maybe be a little less dramatic. Since my message last week in defense of Rick's dictatorship, I've been thinking about the governor as a leader compared to Rick. After a lot of consideration, I realized that a strong moral compass, integrity, and transparency are three more essential characteristics of a good leader, and they're traits that Rick possesses, at least at this point. It's the governor's lack of these traits that actually makes him a great villain. He's evil and he's unapologetically two-faced, but I think he also truly believes he is a good leader, which makes him totally unhinged and more fun to watch. Only a true psychopath could be so deceitfully inspiring and charismatic a few moments after looting and murdering a bunch of innocent men. Rick telling his people, this is how we're going to do things and you can accept it or move on, is arguably an example of the transparency that distinguishes him as a good leader.
He did say that right after revealing something he'd been hiding from them for a long time.
You know, you got to hit them with one hand and hand them something good with the other. That's how I do it. As a history teacher of mine at school once tried to explain, I think it was like Hitler's invasion of Czechoslovakia or something. He's like, so essentially what Hitler did was hit them over the head and then give them a box of chocolates. And I'm like, oh, and I always think about that now. I'm like, yeah, it's like hitting someone over the head, then give them a box of chocolates. You're like, oh, my head, chocolates. So, transparency, who knew? Rachel goes on, sorry, Rachel, for that diversion into my high school history career. Random stuff. I can't stand the governor's invincibility. Multiple times throughout these 2 seasons, he's walking fully upright and totally unprotected while a massive firefight is taking place all around him. It's psycho behavior, but also totally unbelievable, and it drives me crazy. There is a cool shot in this one where he's walking and the guys are getting shot down in front of him. Very good. Rachel says Merlin and Andrea both come dangerously close to relatable and likable during their heart-to-heart. Maybe they should have hooked up, lol. I've never noticed before that one of the governor's soldiers follows Andrea and Michonne and Woodbury from a distance through this whole episode, keeping an eye on them.
That's Shumpert.
Oh, okay. I'm going to keep a track of these leadership traits I keep talking about so I can more objectively see how Rick changes over time. As I'm a hardcore Rick apologist, I've also realised that I'm treating this rewatch like research for a dissertation I'd love to write to earn my Doctor of Walking Dead, DWD, and I'm loving every minute of it. Thanks, Jason and Lucy. Thank you, Rachel. I always love reading your feedback.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep an eye on Rick too and try to, because I've always said that he got really dark and did a lot of things I didn't approve of. And so I'm just really keeping an eye on that to see when it starts. And it already has started to a degree, I feel like, but it gets so much worse.
It's also all this stuff about leadership, literally right now, coming to you from the past. We're just waiting on the exit poll results in the UK elections. So leadership is on my mind today. Yeah. In about 5 to 10 minutes, we'll know how things are looking. And then if I'm willing to stay up all night, I could find out more, but I'm also quite tired. So we'll see. Yeah,
election days are so anxious.
First one in a while.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, that is our show, episode 588. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Next episode, coming in 2 weeks, is The Walking Dead, Season 3, Episode 4, Killer Within. It's a really fun one.
It's one of the most uplifting, I would say. If you want to write in or leave us a voice message about it, you can find all our contact information at podcastica.com.
Yeah, and check out our other podcasts while you're there. After a 2-year break, Rima, Richard, and I just put out an episode of Cobra Kai Cast, getting ready for the upcoming final season of that show. And we also covered The Next Karate Kid, which is the 4th Karate Kid movie from back in 1994, starring Hilary Swank in her first big movie role.
No way.
It's not a good movie, but we actually found a lot to like about it.
I'm like, yay, like, it's not a good movie.
Yeah, well, she's good in it, which is why they were like, well, this is a bad movie, but look at her. We need to get her in some good movies. Because she was in $1 Million Baby and that one about Brandon Tina that I forget the name.
Yeah, she had a real kind of...
Boys Don't Cry.
Yeah, a real kind of celebrity a while ago.
Yeah. But I'm so looking forward to the final Cobra Kai. I've been watching trailers and stuff, and it looks really, really fun. And also, you guys are getting going with Let It Rip. You're working on episode 2, and how's that been going? The Bear podcast, by the way.
It's been fun. We're learning a lot. We cooked something amazing this week. We cooked chicken piccata.
I saw the picture.
Oh, it was delicious. It was so good. So we talked a lot about that this week. But yeah, no, we're getting there. We're finding our feet, which is nice. It's killing us not binging the whole season. So
I bet.